Hello! The next quick and dirty game hasn't even started yet, and it will be a two-player game, I think. So I will show you a game of the last International Championship Grandmaster season, which I have been part of. And this game in particular was pretty interesting, I thought. The season has already concluded. I will show you the results at the end. But I thought I want to share this game because I think it's a cool showcase of how unique through the ages games can be. So let's go. We have Lambda, PV4 and MV here, all very high skilled players. They are in the Grandmaster Division after all. They are also all higher rated than me. I am the lowest rated of the bunch. I think especially PV4 is on rank 6 or something. Yeah, I mean, I'm rank 20. I'm not that far away, but they are all in the top 20, higher than me. Let's see. Lambda in the first spot starts with the pyramids. No complaints. Probably better than the Roman roads on average. Although I also do like the Roman roads. I think PV4 has a good start now. He gets Roman roads and Aristotle. It makes the pyramids pick even better, since Roman roads and Aristotle is not the best combination together, I would say, since this one already needs a lot of civil actions and Aristotle wants to spend civil actions on taking tax. So it's not the best synergy, but it's still a pretty good start that I would take. Yeah, I would like to take. But I think I have also quite a good start here. I can just take, we need to see the turn conclude. I can just take the library and frugality, and I'm also pretty happy with that. I think library and pyramids are probably the best wonders and very close to each other. And then, yeah, but probably pretty close to that after that is the Roman roads. And then there's Colossus, which is probably close to the Roman roads. It's kind of hard to say how good the Colossus is if Suez Canal is in. There's no Suez Canal in, no Colossus in. I don't know what I'm talking about. Just a small tier list for HA wonders. And what we do have here is Marlene Dietrich. We have some lab synergies. There is an ocean liner. And other than that, there's nothing I would be too concerned about right now. We look at that as we are going. So I'm also happy with this start. I will get the leader, hopefully Cleopatra, honestly, because she works very well with the library, but might turn out that she gets taken away. Let's see. And we go for Boudica and Frugality. So Lambda gets Cleo on 1 and does take her, very understandably so, and elects her and builds the lab. I personally like to just build the mine and then be free to use the extra resources after that, without getting stuck in this loop where it's awkward and you want to use a resource but can't build the mine. And both options might be very close to each other, but for ease of mind, I like to start with the mine. And yeah, that might just actually be personal preference. I don't know. These are top players, so. There's PV4 going for the mine, populates, takes EGA for 2. Now, I'm not personally a huge fan of this EGA for 2 in general. I think it's not that good here. The plan is to be able to finish this wonder, which is a good plan. But if we look at this, there's a masonry coming. He could elect Aristotle and take an urban growth, for example. Then he would delay this, maybe by 2 turns even. But he would do it with the masonry and be a little more civil action efficient. So yeah, let's see how that turns out. I'm not the hugest fan in general of taking EGA for 2 in such an early stage. I like to be more civil action efficient and Well, unless there's a very specific reason, and he has his reason to finish this wonder, that will be more or less now certainly be the next turn. His choice. But I kind of don't really agree with that. Especially with this Mason coming down the row. Which goes very well with the Roman roads. I have an interesting decision here, and it's already a little spoiled. I take Alex for one civil action over Confucius for two civil actions. And this might be debatable. Confucius is just generally the better leader than Alex. And it doesn't really look that militaristic, this game. One downside of Confucius is that you need to use his political actions to make use of the science income. And then when it's very militaristic and you don't have a good way to get stronger, you can get punished. It doesn't really look like this here, but I still didn't want to go into this situation where they might just be a little bit stronger. And I don't like to invest into knights just for making use of Confucius, and I've wasted all my science income on knights. Yeah, so it might still be better to go for Confucius, but I decided for Alex for the civil action efficiency, which is a bit weird to say since Alex costs one extra civil action when you use that hero, his ability. So yeah, I felt like I think it's okay. Can just go. I'm in general a fan of trying out things also in competitive games, and felt like Alex. I think it's okay. Yeah, one reason maybe is there are some leaders I would like to transition to. So this choice creates a game state where if Saladin drops early, or Nostradamus drops early, or even maybe to a bit lesser degree Jeanne d'Arc, Barbarossa, Genghis Khan can work. Where I'm actually ahead if I get that replacement leader very early. Alright, it's not the replacement in that case, yeah, but the H1 leader. So it's actually somewhat of a bet, I guess, playing Alex. Let's see how that turns out. I elect him, I build a mine, I use frugality, standard turn. I draw the Crusades. So Envy also goes for the standard turn. He does choose to play the Acropolis. He doesn't really have very good last civil action. It's a late HA wonder. We can look, there are somewhat decent, there's a somewhat decent combination of H1 wonders. So there could be early Universitas or Silk Road, which are very good to play early on. But he decides to just take this wonder, and I think it also gives a decent value in most of the times. It's not as good as in 2-player, but I also don't think it's unplayable. Lambda Seeds reveals the development of agriculture and does pay 2 civil action for knights now. I would not do this. And builds the stage of the pyramids and cannot build his farm, so he does go that route. He interestingly takes knights over the early monarchy. I'm a huge fan of an early monarchy in any player account actually, and if I can get my hands on an early monarchy, then I value it very highly to go for a revolution for that. I would 10 out of 10 times in this situation, or let's say 9 out of 10 times take the monarchy and 1 out of 10 times masonry if I have a 4-step wonder like the Roman roads actually, or the Stonehenge. So yeah, I'm not a fan of paying 2 civil actions for knights here. It's very early, unless he already has medieval tactic in hand and maybe a strength event, which is a little awkward. He did see it, he had only 1 card left. So yeah, I think it's unnecessary to pay these 2 civil actions if you have better options available. Yeah, there would even be a breakthrough. That would be a better option in my book. And here, p4, indeed, we do see the turn where he goes for the Roman roads, and I think if he hadn't paid those... I think even now, in this game state, it would be better to elect Aristotle, take Masonry, build the lab, and then just finish the wonder next turn. I think it would be better. So I go for the lab, and I get the monarchy for one civil action on turn. It's turn 3 now, right? So I do go for taking it and just populating twice. I did use Alex also. No reason not to. Yeah, I just populate twice to set up a revolution. And if I get away with the revolution without corruption, it's a very good start for me. I do draw a medieval army tactic and a defense card here. MV sorry. MV seeds and he opens the development of civil life. He does take the EG 1 for 1, a breakthrough, and the masonry. Yeah, that's a good value turn here. Wow, that's a lot of value he could take for one civil action. Lambda finishes the pyramids, takes iron for 2. So, still no mind, does take a rich land. He can set up a 2, do it soon, and has quite the compensation in rocks. So, it does look good. He has the pyramids and good cards in hand. P4 seeds and opens development of science. Does take Aristotle now, go for the alchemy, upgrade an alchemy, elects the rock. No, 2 rocks. If there was development of crafts, I guess he could have built an alchemy. Like this, he just upgrades it. I guess he still hopes by upgrading and not building the lab. Yeah, that's objectively better. He still has an option now, depending on the developments, to just build an alchemy instead of spending 2 civil actions for building and upgrading. And as I said, I do go for the revolution. I didn't see it, so there would be no danger of corruption. Maybe even now we have already production, right? There was no danger even for corruption. And in the worst case, I could also build a warrior, but I still didn't feel like seeding this crusades. There are already knights in hand for this guy. He has a wonder that makes him a little stronger per default. We might even see the Great Wall go his way, depending on what he does now. And I didn't see a reason to seed the Crusades. Now the foray in hand. If I had to take a guess, I would probably also not seed this. And he goes for the masonry with the breakthrough, finishes the Acropolis with 1 less civil action, and takes the Universitas over the Great Wall, which I also think is the better choice. The Great Wall is a nice, comfortable wonder to play with. It gives some decent value in a 4-player game, but I think overall the Universitas just offers more with the science income. Even with the Legion in hand, he didn't go for the Great Wall. I think it's actually a close call. Trade route agreements were offered by Lambda to me, and I didn't see a compelling reason to do this, so I declined. I do think the side A is the generally better side, and you need some compelling reason to accept it as side B, and I didn't see that. Lambda goes for Code of Laws, has quite some science. Lying around here, develops the Code of Laws, does take the Great Wall here, which means he can use Clio again, but which also means he has to wait another turn to go for the iron. But next turn, I hope we will see the iron. Reveals the fighting band. PV4 does seed and reveal the development of warfare. Sadly didn't get any rocks. He takes the free warrior, populates, he has to get out of corruption and builds the lab. Yeah, so sadly didn't get any rocks, so is just going to build the lab and takes the bread circus. And here our opinions also diverge, I guess. So there is no Pierre de Coubertin in the game. There is a Dietrich in the game. In that game state, I would say that Orama is a lot better card than the Bread and Circus. And the Bread and Circus has its place also even when Pierre de Coubertin is not in the game, in some game states where it's really aggressive and you really desperately need the 2 happy faces, and the strength sometimes even does something, but it doesn't look like a game like that right now. It can turn into one, but it doesn't look like that right now, so I think the drama is just a better card. I have the option to take iron for 2 here, which I'm very glad with. I also had the option to just finish the wonder, but I will start with the iron. I can afford that, and I will even delay the upgrade of 1 more mine to take the drama in hand, because I do think it's such a good card, even better than this breakthrough one. Just having this drama in hand, especially with more rock income already, will turn out to be a very comfortable way to play the game, because I have a very cost-efficient way to generate some culture without falling behind in economy. Economy is already set up. I still have enough rocks I could do 2 upgrades next turn or just finish the wonder. Not sure which I will do. Both options are viable, I guess. And then the drama is just very cost and mana, I wanted to say, science efficient, and does solve this happiness issue that you don't want to be in when the cards flip. You don't really have to want to have 2 or 3 unhappy faces for the possible rebellion. So yeah, we even draw this rebellion, which is always a nice information to have. Development of markets revealed by MV. And with all the rocks that have been created by the developments, he is now in the position to just finish the wonder, which is super good for him. And populates takes the breakthrough. Oh wait, was it populate? Yeah, increase population takes breakthrough. So yeah, this is really nice here. Masonry did a lot of work already. And science income is set. You can go for any government, especially even better with the Acropolis. Lambda seeds development of planning, and the event deck flips now. We have 3 options. It's settlement, crafts, politics, and in a vacuum the settlement is the best choice. But he does go for settlement here and goes for the iron here. Can use Clio, does have 2 iron standing there now. And takes reserves as his last selection. Yeah, he makes very good use of Clio overall with the Great Wall. It's a good wonder for her. And this also looks pretty good. Only has this 2+2 science. There's a copy of Alchemy, 1 is already gone. That's more or less his only issue now, but it's normal to have at least 1 issue going into late stage of H1. Open Borders Agreement from PV4 to me. I accept it, even although it is the 3rd MA for him and the 4th for me. And I accept it. Basically, you have to accept this pact. Otherwise, you will offer it to someone else and the value is just too good. And I have that option to just cancel the pact next turn. And let's see if I will do this. He increases his population. He upgrades the lab to alchemy, and he develops a bread and circuses and builds a bread and circuses, being somewhat afraid of the rebellion and being set up for an immigration. Now, I personally would probably, let's see. Yeah, unless he put an immigration in here. I mean, it also makes him stronger, right? Yeah, okay, he goes from weakest to not weakest. Not strongest, but from weakest to not weakest. And that is quite important, I will admit. I wanted to start saying I would probably endure not having these happy faces and just take urban growth for the efficiency. But going away from being weakest is very reasonable, I would say. He even... Okay, yeah, now he's even strongest. Now that's the argument. It's maybe a little less important than going away from weakest to go to strongest, because there's more events that punish being weakest than reward being strongest. But still, yeah. Then I would have taken the urban growth, I think, after all, but it's a close call. We did not see it. That's good. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have remembered what. Unless it was the rebellion. Okay, we didn't see it. Here, go for the warriors. Upgrade to mines before finishing the wonder. And I think I do agree with this. And take the alchemy, which will set me up, and growth, which will set me up for a good science income going into H2 with +5 then at some point. Urban growth and build a stage. Yeah, the warfare could have been an option. Cartography could have been an option. But I don't have excessive science right now. The warfare is more or less the third MA card, and I do have that with the monarchy, so it has less value. So I want to be efficient with the civil actions here. And I interestingly didn't cancel the open borders agreement. I think just because for this turn it meant I draw another card. So I think that's reasonable. I also do manage with this legion to go from weakest to strongest. MV Seeds opens the Reign of Terror, so staying on weakest would have been punished. Lambda has the short end here of the stick, and we see MV going for Jeanne d'Arc and electing her, building a temple to gain even a bit more strength. Now I don't know if this religion is necessary. On the other hand, has not that much to do. You could develop the cartography instead of building this, but I guess it is somewhat the respect for the rebellion. It's not a bad building with Jeanne d'Arc, gives even one more strength. Yeah, it's just a little sad, I guess, if there's colonies being revealed now, that he has this lying around. And then, if in that case, it would have been better to develop the cartography, but let's see, it's close to each other, I guess. Lambda does finish the Great Wall, takes cultural heritage, urban growth, takes the monarchy now. Okay, now this is a late monarchy. It's still good. In 4-player, there's games. There's obviously 4 H2 governments, and H2 governments are better than the monarchy by a long shot. But it's he doesn't have excessive science. It's still a decent option to have in hand. If the game turns out it's now a little, the small strength race is always a part of it, I guess, in the 4-player game, and then the extra MA that he will have at some point can turn out to be quite vital. Could also have done it with the warfare. I'm not entirely certain with the monarchy. I mean, with the monarchy, he's kind of set up for the game. He already has the 2 extra civil action. It's not bad. It's not bad. Maybe I would have taken warfare here, but then no good last civil action, right? Yeah, playing reserves would have meant corruption. Or solving it with building a warrior. Difficult. P4 goes for knights for 2 civil actions and builds 2 knights and reveals medieval army, which puts him to 11 strength. It does take irrigation. And let's see if I seed something here. I do seed the cultural heritage and reveal pestilence. I'm well prepared for that, but I think everyone is. Yep. No, MV doesn't have the free population because he built a religion. That is kind of sad, to be honest. That is kind of sad. That, if you have no information, okay, that's now also a bit hindsight talk, but during the game you have a little more time, and in these type of games people do think a lot, and then you should consider that there might be a pestilence and you have no free population if you build this religion. And then I would say it's a misplay to build this, unless I'm missing something and it will admit corruption or something, which I don't recall. Okay, here I talked about the early Saladin. It's not an early Saladin. There was no leader at all. I somehow forgot about that. So in hindsight, maybe I would have been a bit happier with Confucius, but it's hard to say. And I do get the Saladin now. Game would be obviously a lot different if I had to seed all the time. Maybe I would have eaten a Reign of Terror at some point. Maybe it's a little in vain to talk about that. So it's a little sad that all the leaders were late, but I guess I also didn't talk about that because I didn't have much to complain, because my turns until now were very good. This is a very good civilization, so I shouldn't complain. And the Saladin is actually now in a good timing. I do all the basic stuff, take the Saladin. Civil action, I don't think taking the strength just to not be weakest is a good advice in general. The civil action, you have to look at it. Civil action is worth something like 2 rocks, and some events that you lose as weakest, like border conflict, cost you something something like 2 rocks. Yeah, you have to respend this and the civil action, but not even always a civil action if you can then just build an irrigation. So yeah, in general, I think just for not being the weakest, unless you have a very good reading on there's all the strength events, you get punished really hard for just staying weakest now, I think taking the civil action is advisable. Now if you have the awkward situation where you go from weakest to strongest, that's then again a little bit different, but in general I would advise to take the civil action. And he takes Code of Laws for 3 here. He's maybe a bit afraid of Dark Ages and wants to spend some science. Code of Laws is a pretty good card. Takes it, develops it, populates to get out of corruption, rebuilds the warrior that he has lost to the pestilence, right? Yes. And yeah, Code of Laws for 3, it's a very late Code of Laws. He's already in +4 science, but with the masonry, I like this alchemy actually a lot. And I don't think he has to take this for 3. I think taking alchemy would be good. Alchemy Richland. Just developing a breakthrough. And population was, yeah, then we have a turn. Alternative. Yeah, I mean the Code of Law is a good card. I won't argue that. And he still has enough science for the H2 governments. But I don't know if he has to pay 3 civil actions for that. Let's see. Yeah, it will be gone here. PV4 will take it and play it. And if PV4 doesn't, I do. But there's a Justice System coming soon, which is a better card than Code of Laws. Not a lot, but I do like the blue cubes. Okay, I don't know. It's close. It's close. The thing is, like this, he doesn't take Alchemy. He has no H1 upgrade here at all. And now he needs everything, right? He needs Celebrate, he needs Coal, and he needs Scientific Method, which is a lot that he needs. And this Alchemy with Masonry, these upgrades are super cost efficient. And he doesn't want to stay on +4 science for the rest of the game, right? And +6 is something, if he gets it early enough and doesn't lose a lot of science to Dark Ages, +6 is something that that can carry you into H3, and then you are like well set up to to decide, do you need more? Do you need a lot of science income with computers, multimedias, or okay, but close call with the Code of Laws. Generally, you don't do very much wrong if you can just play a Code of Laws. It's of course a very good card. Lambda goes for Christoph Columbus. Elects him, increase population, builds a warrior, takes Bread and Circus, and builds a Bread and Circus, maybe somewhat indicating that there might be an immigration. Or it's a respect of the rebellion, but he wasn't really susceptible to that anyway. Not gonna lie, I think this is a little awkward, this Bread and Circus, and I think people overvalue this card, quite simply. Especially when there's no Pierre de Coubertin. I can, when I started my 4-player journey, I'm originally more of a 2-player player. I was like, why do people build Bread and Circus? What the hell is going on? What is this card? And then I had to admit that if Coubertin is in the game, then it's just a win condition setup. You have a lot of game states where you go into H3 and it's super close to each other, and someone gets Coubertin and all of a sudden has +6 extra culture income, and he's just winning the game with that. Alright, I admit that, but other than that, this doesn't do that much. So yeah, I'm not a fan at all of this. We see another warrior. Yeah, it doesn't even make him strongest. So, no. But even that argument wouldn't have been good enough, I think, unless he knows something. And here we see something in hindsight. I did a very big mistake, and I didn't even talk about it last turn because I think I just forgot it even in the game. I didn't cancel the open borders agreement after PV4 go to 11 strength, and I totally admit it was just a blunder. I forgot to cancel it. I was hit by this aggression and thought like, why didn't I cancel it? Especially when we see that he's now still drawing cards thanks to it, and he's going even for more strength possibly with Barbarossa. He makes use of the extra MA, and that kind of hurt. And that was very unnecessary by my part. That kind of hurt. And right now I'm like, okay, let's cancel this open borders agreement. It's not that good for me. I do go for alchemy upgrades. I don't really have a good way to get stronger. I could upgrade some swordsmen, but I don't think that's good enough. And I can draw H2 defense cards, and I might choose the strength here though. So yeah, if I didn't, then if I don't draw an H2 defense card, then I'm even susceptible to 2 aggressions, and that can be game over. 2 aggressions now can just kill me. And right now I was reliant on an H2 draw to defend against P4. I didn't draw it, but then again, also he only has drawn 1 H2 card. Another H1 aggression is possible, but it's not that likely maybe. We will see if that happens. Yeah, other than that, what did I upgraded alchemy, took this breakthrough, right? I didn't have anything to do. I took this breakthrough even for 3 savage actions, right? Yeah, I did. So I could have considered going for this warfare, but it's very expensive. All those H1 cards, when there's a breakthrough 2 on 3, I do agree. This is good. So, Envy has an issue. Let's see. He opens the new deposits. It doesn't help him with this issue. But this theology does. Okay, yeah. It's a little sad to build a religion, then upgrade it to theology, a card that is in general not that good, in my opinion. I mean, it's decent now with Jeanne d'Arc, obviously, but it's a little sad. But he had to fix his happiness issue, his uprising issue, and then this is the correct play. I would say, I would agree. And he does go for the swordsman and upgrades. It also gets him out of corruption. Yeah. Makes him a little stronger also to 11 strength. We see Columbus being used for a vast territory, so he did get, with only one card left in hand, that was very good. Did get the H1 nuts, didn't want to wait. I don't know if he could afford to wait, but also it would be only 2 MA he draws. If you are on 3 MA and you have no good reason to use Columbus right now, I would always gamble, because those H2 I always want to say governments when it's about territories. What is that wrong wiring in my head? Those H2 territories are a lot better than those H1 territories. So this Columbus gamble, drawing some cards, can pay off hugely. Lambda takes irrigation. Plays the rich land to build a mine, yeah. Didn't see that wrong. And places cultural heritage, his reserves. Builds another warrior. Crazy. So the way he played his last turns, it might somewhat indicate that there's a Raiders, maybe something that punishes the 2 weakest. But if it is the case that it's the Raiders, then I would strongly suggest to not give a damn about those Raiders and just eat the 2, or maybe not too big of a damn about those Raiders, and just eat this 2 resources that you lose. I mean, basically building a bit awkward warrior is also 2 wasted resources, more or less. So if it is the Raiders, it could also be Call to Arms and maybe Barbarians. No, Barbarians, no danger for him. Yeah, he tries really hard to be not one of the 2 weakest, right? And I don't know exactly what benefit that has. By the way, those knights, 2 civil action knights early on, could have already been on a monarchy, right? Could have. Immigration revealed is in the deck, so the red in circus plays. He probably seeded that then, and even then I don't think it's good enough to build a red in circus. My gut feeling says it's not good enough. P4 goes for the iron. Is on 4 civil actions, just desperately need something, some government, and does have the signs for that. Reds revealed, I don't lose anything, luckily, but no one does lose a lot. No one invested into food income yet. Yeah, PV4 did a bit, okay. For him it does hurt a bit, because he wants an extra Barbarossa activation, and he doesn't get it like this. And yeah, I have an interesting decision of principle, maybe. There's a Celebrate for 3 and I still need food income, and my first intuition was also to just go for it. It would even fix corruptions, just take Celebrate, develop it, upgrade once and be done with the turn. But I decided to go for a different route. Let's see the turn first. I go for 2 dramas and develop the warfare still. After I talk down on the warfare, saying I already have 3 MA. In this game state, the 4th MA does a lot. It defends a lot of extra aggressions, potentially. probably enables me to just take the civil action from Saladin here even. And yeah, the rebellion is not of concern. I have it in hand, but I do want these dramas out at some point. And this is just a lot more civil action efficient than taking the Cerebrate and upgrading it once. Upgrading it once wouldn't even mean that I could populate next turn. Yeah, and this warfare, especially the warfare part of the turn, is, I think, important to be a bit better set up defensively. And then the drama is just the rest of the turn for efficiency. And it can backfire a bit. There's still 2 Cerebrates that need to be taken. So there is 3 copies, but they are contested and it might backfire a bit. Let's see how that turns out. I do think I agree with myself here, with the warfare especially, and then the drama is like the conclusion of that. Yeah, I also don't take cavalrymen for 2 here, because it kind of doesn't make any sense right now, because I cannot build cavalrymen in 1 or even 2 turns unless I start dispending, and that means I lose the game anyway. So the cavalrymen don't make a lot of sense, and they are also not as contested. We see knights in play already, knights in hand, and for him, yeah, he will take it, and then there's the second copy, which I likely get, I would say. And here we see the typical Ocean Liner revolution. Ocean Liner dropped, Ocean Liner taken, even with corruption. Probably right. He could also go for the Cerebrate. I'm maybe even not right, actually. With the corruption with 7+3, I would personally probably not do it. There are turns where spending everything on the Ocean Liner is just wrong, and I think this is one of them. He has the Cerebrate for 2, a Richland on 1. He could even take James Watt, which is super good for him in this game state. That would mean dropping one of the cards, so no Richland. Okay, he can't get out of corruption anyway, unless... Yeah, okay, he has to go for the Cerebrate. Then he couldn't do it with Watt together. Then he has just to play Cerebrate. Yeah. Yeah, it's close. As always, close call. Ocean Liner is obviously a very good card. And we do see it taken away like this in a lot of cases. But I dislike this corruption a lot in his game state. Lambda goes for Darwin, gets a good replacement early on. He does go for the Cerebrate even with irrigation in hand, but I would probably do the same. It's just so much better card, and with Darwin he only has to spend 1 civil action here, upgrades it once and takes the cannons. Now, yeah, especially cannons very important with the wall. Has a lot of tactic options now. And here, that's not so happy news. P4 didn't draw that many H2 cards and has drawn a war. And there is a Conmon in the row, so he does have extra MA and goes for the war and yeah, dispense a farm to build another warrior and goes to 16 strength. And that war could hurt badly. Let's see. Do I seed something in this situation? Sometimes it's nice to seed in a war turn to reveal a colony that he can bid on, or something that might help you, but I'm not certain if I want to seed any of those. Let's see. I did see the developed territory. So I do reveal scientific breakthrough. I don't think it particularly helps me here. It could have even, right? If there was a government, but... Oh no, I have a government. Never mind. So, what's my options here? I still need the selective breeding. I could more or less ignore this war, right? So, I just take Saladin strength and give away some yellow cubes. It feels very bad. don't even need the selling strength. I just seeded a colony, and I do remember, I think my plan was with seeding this colony just going for this navigation and more or less ignoring the war. And then I can also take Cybrid in hand at least. Yeah, something like that wouldn't be too bad, I guess. In the end, I did something different, and I think that's crucial. What I did was kind of crucial. Because those riflemen are super contested in this game. So, okay, he has swordsman, but he wants rifleman very badly. And he wants rifleman badly. And yeah, after a while, I have to admit, it took me a while, I realized I can just defend the war. Okay, I still have enough civil actions to just go for the rifleman and the navigation and the Saladin strength, and I don't lose a yellow token. That means I don't get the Cellbread, but there's 2 copies still. I might hope that maybe he doesn't take one because he has the Ocean Liner, and he has Cellbread, he has Irrigation already. I might hope to get one of these copies. Yeah, but this turn defends the war, and I think that's correct. The riflemen were too important. I think it's better than starting to upgrade food income now. Losing 2 yellow cubes in this game state would put me in a very awkward spot. I wouldn't even know what I want to spend here. It would be very, very painful. So I'm kind of happy to see this rifleman drop here. That was very important from being able to continue the game. MV starts building the Ocean Liner, 2 stages with the Masonry. Save the civil action again. Takes what? Richland. Reserves. Goes for Cartography. Doesn't take the Cellbread. And doesn't take the coal. Although it took what? But I guess everyone is iron. It's not happening that it's getting denied from him. Or someone has to be, I don't know, already a bit desperate in playing for 3rd place or something to, because it would be a very, let me finish that thought first. It would be a very hard blow for him, and then a bit of a cost to make that deny is acceptable. The other option obviously is that it is almost no cost because you have nothing better to do anyway. That can always happen. Someone has nothing better to do anyway. Okay, let's just deny this call. And then it's a bit sad for him. Let's see. Lambda seeds, reveals knowledge of the ancients, and takes a Harvard College here. He has a very good situation to just build that, maybe even he does. Yeah, I guess you could delay it for 1 turn, upgrade, take the Reverdeer Patriotism, good cards. Could also think about developing this monarchy, but at this point he seemingly doesn't really want to do it. If he doesn't do it now, yeah, I cannot. It's okay. He builds this wonder. Maybe even only upgrading it wouldn't have solved corruption. Possibly. So, war over territory. It didn't yield anything for PV4. A wealthy territory has been revealed, and no one is willing to bid on that except MW. And that is a very huge win for him. He's only on 3 rocks income. And yeah, I had to pay a swordsman, but no one has population for that really. I mean, actually I think Lambda could have at least bid 1, but I think he didn't bid 1 because 1 wouldn't be enough anyway, and he wasn't willing to bid more. But for PV4 and me, I think it's just impossible. I can't send a rifleman for that, and PV4 also maybe can bid 1, but definitely not more. Like a pair or something for this. So he gets this for very cheap, and That's a very good wonder in this situation. Yeah, wonder. I know it's a wonder and not a territory. It's a very good territory in this situation. Okay, let's see. P4. Okay, now this is very sad news. One of the copies has been put here, and the other copy P4 takes. And I wouldn't even call it a hate draft. He needs good food income right now, so he can make use of it. He does take Napoleon, plays Napoleon, disbands the warrior, and builds Sabret and upgrades the mine still. So he does need the food income himself. I can't really call that. Maybe there was a bit of anger involved in this decision about the fact that I defended this war quite luckily, I would say, right, with the rifleman drop. But overall, I wouldn't call it a hate draft. It's a good decision to go for the Sabret here. Yeah, which is now very sad news for me, because I will have it's still pretty early in H2 and I will have no way to solve my food income issues until H3, and then unless I get the colony, right? I see that the developed territory, I have no knowledge about other colonies. Yeah, I did seed, no, I sadly didn't look what I seeded. I think the other colony, right? I had an autonomous, could very well be the autonomous that I seeded. With the navigation in hand, good MA count. And now I don't really have anything to do. I take the coal, because I have nothing other to do. Nothing else to do. And I don't have the signs for it right now, so I just take cards. I take some cards. And this will be my turns in the next few turns, I guess. I do vividly remember that I was pretty sad in this game state and thought, okay, maybe this is just GG, not having gotten the Sabret here. But let's see. Let's see how this turns out. There were thoughts of surrendering soon. Cultural influence revealed. Pretty nice for me. PV4 has no cultural income. The other guys are very close. 4-4-5. Ocean Liner can be finished here. Strategy taken. Ocean Liner is being used. Swordsman built, and the coal taken means he values, okay, consolidating a strength situation here. It was very sad for him that he didn't get any access to a government with all the signs lying around, and he lost 11 signs to the Dark Ages, which is a pretty hard blow. And in this turn, he had the option to go for the coal, but wanted the strategy out and consolidate his strength situation. Lambda goes for cannons, takes frugality, increased population, takes reserves 2 for 3 civil actions. Wow. I guess it makes it so... No, I don't know. What? After building the cannon, he doesn't have enough rocks to upgrade a farm, which he wants to do at some point. Building the cannon puts him from weakest to one of the 2 strongest, or yeah, second strongest then after his turn. I don't know. Apparently he has no better alternatives than taking reserves for 3. Wouldn't even urban growth be better? Reserves better if he wants to have rocks for the military. Yeah, maybe no better options. The EG2 is a little awkward. He already has 3 wonders, and there's maybe no... Yeah, there's some H2 wonders left, but maybe not anything he wants to spend his civil actions on. Yeah, then it's a reserves too. Okay, still not the monarchy. I guess he considered it too late. Okay, in this situation he went for cannon, so he couldn't do both. And this might also be the reason he didn't do it last turn. Call to arms revealed. I am the weakest player. And honestly, I don't care. I lose some civil actions. I can't do anything with those civil actions anyway. So let me draw some cards. A good call to arms for me. You have to take the wins when they come to you. And we see, yeah, standard stuff from PV4. Takes the cannons, takes urban growth, upgrades food income. Has a pretty decent situation going on here, I would say. Doesn't have any culture income. Yeah, but we can check out the comparison soon. And now I was a little sloppy here again. I think I have drawn a card that I wanted to seed, and it might have been a territory. Not certain. I revealed the developed territory that I personally seeded, and I am willing to bid for that. With the navigation and some defense cards in hand, I bid the rifleman. I lose the tactic bonus, and I can't repopulate, but I do think those yellow cubes are just important for me. If I lose the yellow cubes after the age, it will already be an awkward spot. And yeah, that's rifleman for the developed territory is reasonable, definitely. Even though it means that I'm now down to 9 strength and have no good way to increase my strength, but at least I can take the cannons now. I have some rocks. It isn't so nice to declare war against me because I have rocks lying around. I have enough MA. I can have any tactic, and if someone declares the war, I can just disband stuff and win the war. So at least my potential is good. My actual strength is bad, and I can be susceptible to some events here. But my actual strength, my strength potential is already pretty good. And yeah, this cannon pickup was especially important for that. I think it's the last copy of cannons, and now I have this nice situation with all 3 H2 techs, which enable all H3 tactics. Yeah. Difficult sentences here. Last civil action is just develop the coal. It is definitely something I will do at some point. Just increase my rock income. Yeah, I think it's a very interesting situation here. I don't have anything better to do than these quote-unquote inefficient upgrades. But sometimes through the ages games are like this. What can you do? Have to do the best out of the situation. MV offers the military protection to PV4, which I'm not too happy about, because I think I was even in the situation to defend aggressions. I had still 2 H2 defense cards, if I'm not mistaken. But this might put him above the threshold. So PV4 accepts that. And doesn't even lose a culture income, right? Because he's at 0 anyway. Just gains the 4 strength and gives the 1 culture income here. That's how the pact works, right? He would produce 1 less. He can't produce less than 0. So let's see. I might even still be able to defend, or is it 8, 17? No, this is an H1 card. Right? Can you tell from the front? I can't click that. I don't know why. Yeah, I can't click that. On my turn, I guess. Okay. Goes for the Republic. Can finally develop a government, which is a bit sad. It's very late. You might even consider to wait for H3, but then again, it's still... Now, this Republic after the strategy is still just super good. So I agree with going for this. But it sadly means he has no signs. Yeah, these Dark Ages screwed him very hard, have to say. He just was very unlucky in that regard because, yeah, there was no government and no tax. He could spend all these also income tax. Maybe, with the Celebrate, but the codes were late. Codes were after the Dark Ages, yeah. So nothing, really, not a lot he could do about that. but his situation isn't that bad nonetheless. So with what, he will have very efficient upgrades coming, and he has a lot of civil actions, good yellow cards here. He had decent culture income all this time, so it's not bad. So he's not in a bad situation at all. Lambda does take Rifleman, gets the second copy of Rifleman, develops the monarchy after all, upgrades Celebrate, takes scientific method, takes architecture. Yeah, and now this monarchy is so late that I think, why not just go for scientific method now and then aim for an H3 government? I mean, he can still aim for an H3 government after upgrading those scientific methods. He will have a lot of science at some point. Yeah. 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 P4 does go for the plunder. It indeed was apparently an H1 defense card, so I didn't have enough to defend this. And yeah, it is what it is. Lose some rocks. I have plenty of rocks. Take some rocks. It's fine. It's fine. Goes for journalism. Builds it with an urban grove. Builds another arena. And even here I can't click here, right? Is there a way to discern whether that's from the front? Apparently not. Or did I just choose not to? I don't see a way to discern them from the front or the borders. No, identical. Unless I'm blind. Okay, I can't click this. Interestingly. What do? I didn't see it. All the strength events in hand. That's kind of cool because I can't lose them if they are here. I do take Robespierre here. Just for the out for an H3 revolution, which can be very good. And there's also no alternatives really here. Not gonna spend 3 civil actions for Newton, who gives me 1 science income. Cook not good enough. Also, Robespierre. It's a good thing that he's lying around here for 1 civil action. I get the justice system. I do have, yeah, good science all this time. Didn't lose that much to the Dark Ages somehow, and still have a lot of science lying around right now. And then I did upgrade the coal already last turn, or was it? Yeah, this was my first selection now, and I do need something to do, so I just take this Eiffel Tower. It's a bit desperation. I don't think it's the best wonder, but yeah, I just need something to dump my rocks into, or it's a little awkward very soon. And I will have a cycle of corruption that I can't get out of. It's maybe not the wonder. I would have preferred it to be a railroad, maybe, especially after the coal, but maybe it's even not that bad. With the happy face that I might still need at some point and just some culture income, it's okay. It's okay. And I can adopt the fighting band for free here, which is nice. Some small extra strength. And draw a tactic. Yeah, it's better than this tactic, but then again, I don't know how I want to build 2 cannons here, other than the spending things. But as I said, my potential isn't not that bad. That's not that bad in that regard. I could even build 4 cannons and this tactic, so warring, declaring an H2 war against me here is just not feasible. Yeah, it does destroy me, but the guy that declares the war loses the war, and so it's just not a good play against the other players. We see an emigration revealed. I have no problem for that. I don't have discontent workers because I don't have any workers. Yeah, 9,000 IQ time. Ocean liner, scientific method 2 upgrades before the coal upgrades. Okay. Opera. Is it? Yeah, there's a gates in the game, I guess. Still. This call should be going soon, I guess, but he also has a lot of rocks still. Maybe this is correct. My first intuition would be go for this call, but especially there might be iconoclasm, right? Maybe it means he has knowledge of iconoclasm. Yeah. He goes for the science income first. Takes the opera, bids the temple. Freedom of movement revealed. First 2 civil actions are spent on the wave of nationalism. Did he use the freedom of movement? Yeah, warrior to cannon. That makes a lot of sense here. And goes for the scientific method upgrade once. Takes frugality. Sally no more yellow cards. Uses frugality with Harvard College. So, okay. Yeah, that looked like a decent turn. Yes, okay. H3 started. Let's take a look at the situations. Now we have already been a little spoiled that I'm losing. He had the choice to kill Robespierre or the Wonder, and he chose the Wonder. And let's take at the civilizations here. Look at the situations here. And I would say it's a little hard to rate here. So we do see Lambda with good civil action count, and he's already at +8 science and can efficiently upgrade this architecture, the scientific method with architecture. He might he's well set up for Bill Gates and Sid Meier and maybe even Curry Steve Jobs. But I think Bill Gates would be the guy who would catapult his situation in front by a large margin. He is set up, he kinda telegraphs a possible, or he hopes to have a defensive army with a wall. He's in general pretty well prepared for the military. Does have riflemen in hand still. So I would say his situation is pretty good. And PV4 situation is also pretty decent. He managed to get journalism. His downside is that he has 30 less culture than the rest of us. And he has to catch up with that. And since he doesn't make that up in any other way, other than being a little stronger than the other guys, I would say he has the weakest position. Just the 30 culture difference, because everything else is kind of similar. And yeah, he has a little more strength, but I have all the benefits for being a little stronger in my hand. There's just maybe a refugees left. So I would say he's a little behind here. He needs maybe a movies drop with Fleming or an early oil drop or something. He needs something going his way, I think, to win this game. So he's definitely not like in a spot where I would say he is going to end up last, but he's a little behind. Just the 30 culture behind. And or let's say behind those two, because my position is super hard to rate. Interestingly, I have 20 rocks lying around, so I have a lot of potential. If the Mechec drops, my civilization looks fixed. And I have decent science lying around. I have 40 plus 5 culture. So it's super hard to rate. It just depends on what happens now. But I would actually say this is playable. After I thought, this food deny so early on will put me at a large disadvantage, somehow it's playable. I've lost my wonder now. But honestly, I'm kind of maybe even relieved I don't have to spend my rocks on this awkward Eiffel Tower. Maybe it was even wrong after all to take it. So it's gone, and I'm happy he didn't kill Robespierre, because I think Robespierre, there is no government here, but if one drops in 1 or 2 turns, he will still have value. And this Eiffel Tower, I don't know. Not that much value. Shout out to my blue cube situation, by the way. This civilization would be a lot less playable if I didn't have the developed territory and the justice system, which give me extra blue cubes, 5, so that I can accumulate those resources. It's yeah, it's like, especially for this situation, very good to have extra blue cubes. So yeah, hard to say. I might end up dead last, but I might also be just in a good spot. It's just hard to rate. And then there's MB, who has a lot of civil actions now, who will fix his economy now. Maybe everything is a bit too late, and maybe he suffers a bit too much from the Dark Ages. But I would also not count him out in the contention for just winning the game. Yeah, so if I had to order, I had no idea. It's kind of close. P4 maybe a bit behind those, and I have no idea how to rate my situation. And I think it's good. It's playable, and depending on what happens in the card row, I'm all of a sudden very strong. So let's see. P4 did, as you saw, infiltrate me and chose to kill the Eiffel Tower. He still takes the Louvre Museum here, which is a very interesting choice. He has an engineering genius in hand. Let's see, he also just builds it. But he spends all his rocks. Okay, this wonder has the benefit of having some rocks on it then. So... And yeah, I talked about how he's behind in culture. And this is just 5 culture income now. So yeah, maybe. There's also not really something else to do for him here, to be honest. Yeah, I agree. It's a good pickup. You have to be flexible in TTA, and I guess Louvre doesn't have like the... What's it called? People don't think it's really strong, right? But every card has its situation, and this is a good flexible play from PV4, adapting to the situation that this Louvre gives him good value now. He develops his cannon as the last civil action. Might have maybe considered to take the architecture. He has good science, but the turn worked out well without the architecture too. And maybe he wants to be more flexible. And indeed, I am rewarded by Vlado himself with a communism, presumably the best card, since it's really just 1 science for a huge boost here. And even the happy face doesn't cause me any issues here. And I'm rewarded twofold. There's also Marlene Dietrich in the row. And since no one else values drama at all, Marlene Dietrich went through to me for free. It's illegal. I'm telling you, that's completely illegal. They have all their bread and circus, and now I have the better bread and circuses. The Coubertin bread and circuses, more or less, right? 2 happy faces, 2 culture per turn, -1 strength. Okay, but the -1 strength, it will be from somewhere else, and will be probably more than 1 strength. So I get... That is a dream start into H3 for my situation. Could only be better if there was a macaque here. But let's not be too greedy and be happy that I'm actually... Okay, I even get air forces, so that might arguably even be better than the macaque. Because I'm now just super threatening all of a sudden. If any H3, okay, I don't draw any cards now, but any H3 tactic that I draw will enable a huge strength potential for me. And if I draw that and the war, then I can just dispense some things and be very strong. Okay. 26 rocks, still no giga corruption, only the small corruption. MV goes for the Ocean Liner use, finally the coal upgrade. Maybe one of the reasons he got, I just realized, didn't want to go for commit for the coal is the option that an oil drops, which is obviously a lot better than the coal. So yeah, that was probably his thought process, which I somewhat missed when I said let's go for the coal better than the scientific method. If there's an oil here, that would be a lot better for him. But there isn't, and he indeed has to do this at some point. He gets another copy of Air Forces here, the second, and takes rockets. He was a bit greedy, maybe you could say, in not taking any red tags. Now he has to take the red tags in H3, which are more expensive. He still doesn't have the best rock income. He will improve it somewhat. And he has a lot of civil actions and, in theory, good access to yellow cards if there were any yellow cards. So right now there aren't, but he can take the rockets at least. Lambda seeds reveals the refugees. Okay, the one impact event that punishes me for being weakest is in there indeed. He goes for the architecture and upgrades the lab, takes pro sports, takes the military theory, takes tanks, saving a lot of civil actions with Darwin here, and is now also prepared for all the H3 tactics and has a lot of science income. He can develop all this, even military theory is a super good card here. Just takes a bit of rock income, I would guess. It has even the wave, which he can probably make to somewhat good use, depending. Okay, right now it would only be 2 rocks, but let's see. He has also the Harvard College, right? So there's also some rock potential there. PV4 offers the International Trade Agreement. 1 more rock for him, 1 more food for Lambda. I have not seen this pack being rejected, I think, ever. Maybe I've rejected the food side once or twice. But I don't really do that anymore, guys. You can offer it to me. Don't worry. Yeah. Now here, that's the last copy of Air Forces. So Lambda will miss out on them. The good old Air Forces roulette. Every Air Forces have been taken for 3 civil actions, especially in game styles where everyone has a lot of civil actions. That's just more or less always happening. Does take them. And goes for the Air Force at once. Now he didn't take modern infantry, but that would have been a high cost, presumably. He doesn't have the best tactic options, so he didn't get riflemen. Now the first copy of modern infantry doesn't go his way, or doesn't take it. Develops cannon, maybe saying, okay, I have a mobile artillery, telegraphing that. Yeah, but like this, he doesn't have H3 tactic options at all yet. And yeah, needs to have an H2 tactic. I mean, he is at 31 strength right now, but in 2 turns, this could look a lot different here. And there's sadly no Macaque. I lost the population. What did I lose? A mine. I had to lose my iron for that. Gladly not upgraded yet. And I can still not really do anything, but Vlada sent something my way again, and it's the Manhattan Project. It gives me a very crucial strength boost here, and enables me to spend my rocks. I could have also, if that didn't drop, I definitely would have done this railroad, but that would have been a lot less strength than the, what is it, 13 strength the Manhattan Project gives me. Right? Yeah, it's 13. Okay. And I take multimedia in hand because maybe at some point I want to build something, and all the other cards make no sense. Yeah, I have Rifleman, and then taking modern infantry doesn't do that much. And Vlada is just on my side in this game. This is a draw. I draw the modern army with this, and already a war. So I have a game plan, I guess. So probably this will be the plan. Unless there's a macaque at least next turn, and I think maybe I can still just win culturally. MV seeds and opens the autonomous territory. So indeed, that's what I seeded that one turn. And he wins it just for a warrior. It has a lot of defense cards. I did bid also 11, so I was willing to bid for that. One rifleman, but not enough. And maybe it's a little awkward to win that anyway. You get the rocks back or take the food. Yeah, you have to decide between those two, and then it's already lose some blue cubes, which do good work for me. It would be worth it still, but I'm also not that heartbroken to not win it somehow in this game state. And yeah, we see the defensive army from MV actually, so giving it to potentially to Lambda, but there's some strength going on, and he just does need the strength from the defensive army here. Takes a military build up and the space flight. And the space flight looks like a win condition. Takes a wonder. There's after this, Internet and Empire State Building will be gone, and there's no one really that well set up for a Hollywood. So if he can defend and build that, he enable the win condition for him. That being said, I think it's a bit greedy to take that over the patriotism, over the Reveille urban growth here. Maybe even a bit greedy, but let's see. He gets the Reveille still, but crucially not the patriotism maybe. Okay, he has 15 rocks, he has the military built up, so I guess it's very understandable he took that wonder. Lambda does get brigades in a reasonable timing and go for it at once. It improves his economy a lot. He does pay 3 culture income, but gains 6 rock income, so that's more or less a no-brainer. He goes for the rifleman upgrades and takes patriotism in hand, urban growth in hand. Sadly didn't have signs for both rifleman and military theory, which means he doesn't draw cards here, but he has the military theory coming next turn, and he can just copy the defensive army and be very strong. Yeah, again, he doesn't have the Air Force copy. It's always just a disadvantage, but it's also really doesn't look like he's very fragile here with his wall setup. National Pride revealed, and I think I did not see that, or did I? Yeah, I did see 1 or 2 events that we didn't keep track of, and maybe it was me who seeded that. Well done, that's 5 free extra culture. Now P4 takes Mandela for 3, plays him, builds a pro spot, and takes the military theory, and doesn't take the modern infantry again, which again just limits his tactic options a lot. Maybe a bit greedy. I do see it, and we missed what again? It happens. I can increase my population. The prosperity has been revealed. I can increase my population twice. Probably I did seed the prosperity at some point. If someone else did, thank you. That was very good for me. Now I have 2 extra population. Or I guess 1 extra population. I had 3 food accumulated thanks to the developed territory. And here, still no macaque. I think, yes, this is like a sign from the heavens. I have to go for this. It's very efficient, especially with Marlene Dietrich, to go for those modern armies. And I just built one, and I also revealed the tactic to be military action efficient, because like this I'm set up to already in the next turn declare a very, very strong war. Still get my hands on the patriotism, which is a bit illegal that it went through to me maybe. Reserves, yeah, a lot of rocks I could still take here, and 2 patriotisms in hand. And I even draw another war here. Impact of competition is also pretty good impact for me. Envy offers the peace treaty to Lambda, which is accepted. Indeed still goes for the oil, which is rock-wise definitely still worth it. It's very cheap. Rock-wise, science-wise, it's okay. It just costs some civil actions here, right? Plays military build up, builds the rocket, takes the modern infantry, increasing his tactic options to H3 tactics. Although I already see the tactic that he would have liked to have in hand the most, would like to have the most, was what I wanted to say. And that's the turn. And at some point he will have to fix his food income, or he will have starvation issues. And here we interestingly see a war over culture from Lambda on PV4. I didn't really see that coming, but he also has some very good strength potential, as we see, with the military theory and the tanks, and apparently he also has the modern infantry, the second copy. So he goes to 66 strength and 67 strength, and it's also a very good strength push. And here we see P4 just resigns. Apparently it did not have any tactic. He mentioned in the chat that those tactic cards look nice from a distance, something like that. Apparently he didn't have an H2 tactic with the mobile artillery. He could have somewhat reasonably defended the war maybe, but he was also not set up for H3 tactics. And yeah, sometimes, I don't know, maybe there was nothing to do, nothing he could have done. Maybe at some points he was a bit greedy. It's hard to say, not knowing his hand. And sometimes the game is just like that, and there's not much you can do about it, and then you lose. That is through the ages. And I also go for a war already. I can declare 2 wars with the hybrid war and go for this modern infantry 2 times with an air force, and 2 times thanks to Marlene Dietrich, which puts me at 81 strength, and I only have to spend more or less everything, but take some starvation here. But that's a good balanced civilization, isn't it? Some dramas, some coal mines, a very basic food income, and a good old modern army. MV does not resign. Reveals the civil unrest, which doesn't affect anyone. Goes for the Mech X still with James Watt, who has done a lot of work, but also he didn't find a good replacement for him very soon. Would have also maybe hoped for brigades, but maybe also Sid Meier would have been a good option, but now it's the war times, and let's see. He goes for Curie, some extra strength. Yeah, okay. Now especially with the oil, it should be the best option. Some extra strength and 3 science, 3 culture per turn is a good deal. He goes for 2 full defensive armies with air forces, which puts him to 59 strength. So he can somewhat defend the war, but it's still a sizable gap. And we see Lambda going for movies and building 1 warrior, puts him to 5 to 12, 17 rocks, which enables an outdated modern army. Yeah, 1 rifleman, 1 cannon, 1 tank. And that will still be a lot of strength. So my choice for the second war actually goes to Envy, because I guess I remember somewhat, it was a very close call. But I think he has more strength potential, is what it comes down to. I don't want to calculate it now, but it's just a little more strength than he can muster up. So, and on top of that, he's affected more by the happiness. He's not affected by that at all, with the bread and circus and pro spot in hand. So, yeah, depending on the yellow cards, there's no reserves patriotisms, but this urban growth, okay, that I might take away. He could, depending, I don't know, maybe efficient upgrade, he could also get some strength from pro spots. So in the end, it goes on MV. And I spent the rest of my civilization, built a very crucial drama and another air force, and am at 99 strength. Taken urban growth for the last turn, and an engineering genius, I guess. Why not? Suffer another famine, but as we see, this war should seal the deal. Probably the last war was already enough, but having drawn second 2 wars here, politics of strength revealed, that's something I had in hand. I see that at some point where I saw that I'm going to just go for this strength push. Yeah, Envy does not even, it's probably even not feasible to, I don't know, disband things and try to defend this war. He just builds this. So it is the correct call. If he had gone all in on defending this, which would also hurt him a lot, but he would be a lot closer to this. Would also not win it, but would be a lot closer. And as we see, this should, maybe even before this hybrid war, I should have been in the winning position. Although he is very, very well set up for impacts. And he still had the wonder, so maybe that war wasn't totally unnecessary. Yeah, but let's see how it turns out. He still can go for it, by the way, with the way he played. This wealthy territory is revealed during the war, and it was some extra strength potential for him, by the way, so he could have gone. Maybe that was also a reason that I thought there can be some events that give him extra rocks, and then it's not only an outdated army, then it's a full army, and then he's frighteningly close to me. Should never forget calculating that this is also some extra strength here from the wall. And here we see he still managed to go for a 16 culture Hollywood here, which is kind of impressive, thanks to Bill Gates, and he still managed to go for 2 movies and just the Hollywood now in the last turn. I do win 39 culture with this war, and I can still raid Lambda here for some extra resources and making some impacts worse for him maybe. Can upgrade my food, build another drama. Now that is what I call a balanced civilization. And impact of harmony revealed, which is not that good for me here for some reasons. Although my civilization is so balanced, I only score for culture there. We see the space flight finished for impressive 29 culture, and this is the final standing. Impact of progress, or the culture before the final standing before the impacts, and impact of progress is actually quite good for me. 16, 14, 16. I guess I'm safe, and between the two it's still somewhat open, although I would say, I don't actually remember how it ends, but I would say his civilization was too good set up for impacts. I don't see him winning 22 culture. Let's see, we see the impact of agriculture, which is very equal for everyone. Impact of strength, which wasn't even seeded by me, was it? I don't really remember. Architecture, 4, 9, 4, so Lambda wins on MV. 5 culture here. Colonies, equal for them, 3, 6, 6. And the final impact is balance. It's an impressive 2 culture balance for me, with 1 science income and 12 for Lambda. 10 for MV, so that's the final standings, revealing also that it would have even been enough without the second war. I gained 39 culture, this gap is bigger. And this gap's also bigger than 2 times this, so 1 war would have even been enough. So why do I think this game was interesting? Because it's kind of unique. I was forced into a situation where I had to be very, very resource efficient. I couldn't spend any resources. I accumulated resources thanks to blue cubes, and then I will be the first one to admit I had a lot of luck in H3, drawing the right cards, having the right cards in the row on the right timing. But I will also say that I set up for this luck. Yeah, I had the drama to set up for the Dietrich. I was the only one who was set up for the Marlene Dietrich in this game. I did take the Robespierre and set up for the high roll into an H3 government, and so on and so on. I made use of the options that were given to me and managed to win this game, and was pretty happy with that, especially since that meant that I was in a very good spot in this Grandmaster season, and at this point I can reveal the standings to you. If OBS goes along. 1 second. Yeah, now it should work. This is the final standings, and yeah, not gonna lie, I wanted to brag a bit. I won this Grandmaster season, my first Grandmaster season, against all those top players. Like this. I got 36 points. I won every game and won second place. It's the second best result in a Grandmaster season of all time. Someone managed to win all the games except one, but tie it for first. Leon C in the second season of the International Championship, which is already, we are at season 22. It's a while back. It's quite a while ago. So this is the final standing. I will again say why did I do so well? It's, I guess, luck plays an important role in Through the Ages, but you also have to make do of what you are offered, and it just worked out. Next season, I will not be insolent enough to say I will repeat this. I will be happy if I stay in this very tough competition. Some new players will join. Gross will join, for example, who I think is one very, very strong player. And the second one who will join, I don't really know. All the other players that stay here, Wolves, sadly. Oh, yeah, I think the tiebreakers are taken into account here. So Wolves sadly will go down, and P4 will go down if he plays another season. And it will be a tough season, and maybe let me know if you want to see some coverage of that. I'm kind of motivated. Let me know if you want to see another game of this season. I might still find 1 or 2 games that were quite interesting, actually. And I think with that, I would say thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye, guys.